Yo, yo, yo. What's going on, everyone? So, this is not live, this is pre recorded, but I wanted to go ahead and just post this video. I decided to go ahead and make this a live stream just so this can kind of be a little interactive. I might chime in on my own chat. I know it'll be a very, very odd experience. It's an out of body thing. It's like I'm looking down on myself. So, I apologize for not uploading this uh, as quick as some people would have liked me to have uploaded it. But here it is. Per the agreement I had with Adam Bush, I'm going to share the interview I did last week. At least it was last week as of this recording, uh, on Who Are These Podcasts. So it's going to be a little different because it's not just going to be the interview. I'm not just copying it and uploading it. Basically, this is going to be a fair use type thing. I'm going to go ahead and give my thoughts, before the interview. I'm going to go ahead and splice in a couple times. I'm going to cut the interview up, interrupt it a little bit during the course of the interview, and then I'll go ahead and give the post game. These thoughts are just going to be brief. I'm not going to dwell on it too long, but I wanted to go ahead and get this up because some people seem kind of upset with me, even though it was on a show I had no intention of going on in the first place. But I was invited, despite the fact that the regular host specifically said I was not invited to go on Who Are These Podcasts, and I would never be invited to go on Who Are These Podcasts. And if you think it's all hyperbole, I'll go ahead and show you the clip.
That's another thing that we should bring up is that for some reason my booking agent Mike Geary was like, "Would you go on Who Are These Podcasts?" He's not invited to come on Who Are These Podcasts. I like to have comics on the show, people that I enjoy talking to.
I was trying to convince him he could be the next Doug from Mean Doug or whatever that guy is.
Yeah. Doug from Who's Right. No, that's not the case at all. He's not Dick Masterson. I'm not going to goof on his show and then, hey, come on, we'll do some bonus crossovers together.
That's what you say now. You and Tom, both very close-minded, and I'm here trying to expand your worlds.
So there you go. They didn't want me to come on. I wasn't set on coming on, but I was invited on by Adam Bush. We had a great conversation when we were on Hughesy's live stream together. So I thought, you know what? I'll go ahead. I'll swallow my pride. I'll go ahead and do this thing. So pretty much it was, look, I wanted to be compensated for my time. I did take the time to go ahead and rearrange my schedule. I have a busy schedule. It's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that you don't see. In fact, like I'd say 95% of the shit that goes on, like the prep for live streams, shows, my podcast, Tom Myers versus the Rest of the World, available on my Patreon, this very YouTube channel, and wherever you get your podcasts. There's a lot of prep that goes into it, most of which nobody ever sees, and you're not going to see, because I like to make sure I put out a good finished product that's coherent, professional, and most importantly, enjoyable and funny. So, look, I only wanted to be compensated for my time. Adam Bush and I did come to an agreement. To be fair, like he conceded a lot of stuff. Like I made a lot of concessions as well. From my point of view, I felt like I made a lot more concessions than he did, but I'm sure Adam Bush will tell you something completely different. That's fine. So I went ahead and did the interview. So without further ado, I know I teased it in the title. Did I clickbait it? Fuck yeah. Trying to get the views, trying to get the watch hours up, trying to get publicity for my channel, which we all are. So, don't fault anybody for doing that. Please don't fault me for doing the same thing. If you do fault me, I don't really give two fucks. So anyway, here's the interview.
I'm so excited for his first appearance live here on WATP. He's a personality. He's a podcaster. He's a political pundit. He's a lightning rod of misperception. He's a comedian. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Tom Myers.
There we go. I just unmuted myself like a professional podcaster. Gentlemen, how are you? Thanks for having me on.
We are so excited you're here, and we have so many questions. I've been sent so many questions from so many people to ask you.
No.
I have.
People
I have.
send questions? I find that hard to believe.
It's the theme of the whole show, but for those of you who are not familiar with Tom, if there's anybody that hasn't heard of you, just here's some of the things that comedians have said about you really fast. Shane Gillis said, Tom Myers is awesome. It was an honor to introduce you to his wife and that he listens to your albums on the road. Louis J. Gomez called you a killer. He said you were the most requested guest he's ever had on his podcast. And Ghost Gum wrote a piece about you that has 500,000 views. And he says that your work is the great anti-comedy that exists today. He thinks you're an Olympic athlete of that sort of thing. How does that make you feel when you hear that?
Oh, I tell you what, so much critical acclaim. If I ever write a book, that's all that's all going in on my bio, on my that's going on the book jacket. Every single one of those comments.
But I mean, we get a lot of good comments. We get a lot of bad comments. Shane Gillis also said that he can't tell if Tom has any self-awareness at all or if he has too much self-awareness. There's definitely no in-between, though. Louis J. Gomez also said you were the least successful guest he's ever had on his podcast. And Tim Dillon said that Tom Myers looks like a Make-A-Wish kid who never died. So I guess my question is, how do we process the good and the bad together?
I mean, well, the way I process it is I just don't give a shit.
Okay.
Like I haven't cared really for a long time. Yes, I know that there's some acclaim out there. It's positive. Some out there that's negative. I take it. I take it all. Some of the negative ones, believe it or not, I actually find quite amusing, and others, it's just fun to.
What do you mean by amusing?
Go after them.
What do you mean by amusing?
I mean that I sort of want to go ahead and acknowledge it and just go after it and just go ahead and respond to it in my usual chipper self.
So that would not be ignoring it at all. That would be letting it affect you and retaliating head on against it.
Well, some of them I ignore because some of them are just shit. But then there's others I don't. It's like I pick and choose. It's almost like I pick and choose. Like whenever I'm invited on some shows, I pick and choose which ones I want to do. Like I go ahead and I weigh the pros and cons. Like, is this going to benefit me? How is this going to hurt me? And then I just make an educated decision.
So what went through the process of deciding whether to come on WATP or not?
The fact that I got on a lot better with you on Hughesy's show that I thought I would. So, and then you sort of extending the invite to come on, and I thought to myself, okay, I really have. Maybe I have nothing to gain. I don't know, but I certainly have nothing to lose. So why not?
Okay. Yeah, if there's nothing to lose. Blind Mike said in an interview you did with him that you're not the easiest person to work with. What are some examples of that? How would that manifest itself?
I honestly don't know. I admit that I do have some qualities that are that do turn off a lot of people. I can be very.
Me too, buddy. Welcome to it's you and me.
I can be very stubborn. I can be set in my ways. Like I have this sort of like bullshit meter in my head. Like whenever I think someone's getting ready, whenever I think someone's just fucking with me, or whenever I'm being trolled, and then if I go ahead and respond as such, then that I'm being seen as difficult or or not funny, thin-skinned. But it's like I go ahead and like everything that comes my way, I just process it all the same way. And some I react some ways to I react to it in some ways and some to another.
You trolled Aaron Imholt pretty hard, eh?
It was just something to do. I wanted to see if I could do it. And I was actually kind of proud of the results because he ended up he ended up going off on me on his stream a few times. And the fact that he not only got upset that he knew I existed, but the fact that he ended up not getting any super chats or Venmos or donations while he was talking about me, and then he got angry and upset about that. Like that was, to me, that was like mission accomplished. And then in typical Aaron fashion, what he did was he went ahead and said, "Oh, it's another win for the toe. Oh, I handed Tom Myers an L." Meanwhile, when he tried to snipe me back after I was sniping him, is like he turned off my volume and then just immediately cut away. He said, "Oh, Tom really didn't have anything to say," and I'm like, I listened to the tape back. You fucking idiot! You didn't you didn't let me speak. So
Are you
you know,
comfortable
the
being
win
that kind of
for Tom.
target practice for other people? Are you comfortable letting people just use you as some kind of target to practice bullying on and seeing if they can break you and get you to shut down your stream and stop giving you money and then turn around and go, yeah, I did something today?
Well, I mean, the difference between me and like a lot of these other streamers is like I do have like other sources of income. It's like I don't necessarily need to stream or something. In fact, I actually came to the conclusion recently. I did some live streaming for a couple months just to see if I enjoyed it. And after a while, I got kind of tired of it. I mean, I liked interacting with some of the chatters that came in. Like that was pretty much the uh, uh, my favorite part of doing the live stream.
The
So I might
friendship,
start.
having some friends to talk to.
I mean, I have friends, but it's just like having
I didn't
people
say you didn't have
in
friends. I was just trying to understand the appeal. You said that.
um. Well,
I guess it's like this. I have a really bad sense of direction. When I get off the freeway and I got to get back on, I have a sense that tells me what direction to go. There's like a feeling, and that feeling is always wrong. I can count on it. That thing. How do you know if your gauge is wrong? Like, how do you know if something's funny or not, or too mean, or how do you know what makes a good joke and a bad joke outside of the audience to you?
well, the first gauge is, do I think it's funny?
Right.
And it's like if I don't think something's going to work, like if it doesn't make me laugh, then I just don't do it. And then the ultimate test is, of course, does it make like an audience, like a room full of strangers, laugh as well? And then if I try something and if it gets an immediate reaction, great. If not, I go ahead and try it again, tweaked. And if I just can't tweak it, then I just say, okay, fuck this bit. Like a lot, I'd say like all the stuff I've written, I'd say like 99.9% of it never makes the final act that
That's a lot.
I do on stage. I mean, listen, I'm open and honest about it because I write a lot. So like I sit down, and like I write. I do the traditional like pen to paper type deal. So it's easier for me to remember some of the stuff if I go ahead and write them down. And then some of the stuff I won't use for the stage. If it doesn't work for the stage, okay, does it work for the podcast that I do? Does it work
But
for
you don't
Tom
like doing
Myers
the
versus the
podcast.
rest of the
I was going to
world?
ask you about that. You said it, and I have it here. You don't like doing the podcast. You
No, I
actually
don't
hate
like
it.
doing. I don't. I didn't. I got tired of doing the live stream. The
Okay.
the podcast, Tom Myers versus the rest of the world. That's actually what I enjoy doing a lot more.
Hey, Tom. I'm sorry. Can I just ask you a question about your,
Sure. Yeah.
your how
Absolutely.
you were writing,
Mhm.
your writing style? You said that you scrap about 99.9% of it, and I get that because, like, sometimes you self edit and you look at your stuff and you go, obviously, I'm not even going to bother with that. But I've watched all of your specials, seen all of them. I've listened to your show, and it seems to me like you write so much that you don't take the time to polish jokes. Do you feel like that's valid?
No,
Okay.
because I like every single album that you've listened to, the stuff I've worked on has actually done well and has been polished, has done well in front of audiences. So
I've
uh,
never heard you receive a criticism of your comedy
well,
positively.
there's criticism, and then there's just reporting. There's just um, going back at what's a factual
Well,
inaccuracy or a
I'm not trying
misperception.
to, please don't think I'm trying to insult you. Obviously, I'm trying to just have a conversation with you about stand up. So I guess I would follow that up by saying, like, I've noticed that you take a bit of time, you use a lot of words. Word economy doesn't seem to be the most important thing in terms of your style of telling jokes. Would you agree with that?
I'll agree. I'm not exactly the most concise person. I'm not exactly the most concise comic. I'll go ahead and I'll go ahead and concede to that. But
Okay.
the jokes that I've done for on the albums, like apparently, like if they didn't do well at all, I would just cut them from the final edit. Or like if the room was particularly off with one particular joke, like that's happened a few times. You think it like, oh shit, I didn't want that to happen.
Well,
Then
can I just reconcile my first and second thing? I just wanted to explain what I meant by not polished. A word economy sometimes is very burdensome when you're listening to what you're delivering and trying to get to the punchline. So when I say not polished, that's kind of what I mean by that, because I feel like how long you've been doing comedy, a very long time, and I just feel like it's either a style choice or you don't get that it's hard for people to listen to. So I'm just curious what your thoughts are on that.
well, and often with some of the longer bits that I do, like there's often jokes, sort of there's jokes within the bit. There's other little jokes peppered in before I get to like the big final one. So I mean,
Yeah, that's
there's
stand up,
that as well.
right? But that's how all stand up is. You set it up, set it up, set it up, punch, set it up, set it up, set up, punch. Get your jabs in. I guess have people said this to you before?
I mean, yeah, I've definitely taken advice from some more seasoned comedians, especially when I first started. And it's like it's always a work in progress. Like I've never done the exact same set two times in a row. Like I've every single joke I've done, like it's been
Yeah,
it's
they all
been
sound.
tweaked.
It sounds just like a joke. It's always joke adjacent. It has the feeling of one. If a crowd is drunk enough, it'll land and it'll give us that that satisfying punchline thing. I've just
You do
found
have a rhythm. You definitely have a rhythm to the way you set stuff up.
Mhm.
I'll give you that 100%.
that is even when the joke written down is clever, is sometimes missed by the movement or the energy or the prowling that sometimes doesn't match the delivery. It gives off the vibe that the person you see in your head is not the person we see. Like I feel like you see a kind of what's his face, the Lenny Bruce, Bill Hicks kind of prowling the stage, darker character, but it's very much a young Mormon. Have you heard the good word? Look, right?
Yeah. I mean,
Well, no, I mean, and the quote unquote prowling, I just like walking around on stage because that sort of eases
It's absolutely the letting
any
go
tension.
of tension, right? Which
Yeah,
is what it
and I've
looks
done
like.
it. I've done it
A
where I've just
self-soothing kind of thing. We're
I've
used
done
to
it where I've
comedians.
stood in front of crowds and I've just been gripping the microphone like this, and
That's
it's
also bad.
just, I've felt kind of very very stiff and not myself. Really, I'm just being myself on stage, and like a lot of people seem to like it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have kept doing it.
Because when I heard that you were raised by older parents or by grandparents, I don't know what you said. Something like your father was raised by your grandfather. I remember thinking, well, that checks out for most people. I don't know how unique that is. What was the deal?
He was raised by his grandfather because his mom died when he was very young. So that's how he was raised by his grandfather, and that was the story about the inflection, the Irish accent with my great grandparents. But no, my parents were both. I was the youngest of three children, so my parents were kind of older. They're both still around though.
And did they take you to a gravestone and say, someday, son, this will all be yours?
That is half true. I kind of played it up for the bit. Like there is there is a family plot where and they did take me to see it because one of my hobbies is I study my family history, so I go ahead and visit a lot of these places. So the bit stemmed from that.
I
Hey,
have a
Tom.
couple questions from the chat that are just real fast. Do you mind if I just,
Yeah,
throw
sure.
these out
Let's
to
do
you?
some
Hey,
questions. Yeah.
Can I throw one out there? What's your home
Please
club?
do the first one.
What's your home club?
It was the Lou Costello room in the upstairs at Zissimo's. They used to do regular comedy shows, but that's since closed,
And that's
unfortunately.
a restaurant.
It was a comedy club that was right above a place called Zissimo's. Like they did regular comedy shows.
Sure.
They held the Charm City Comedy Festival there when they held it, but it was closed down, which is a shame. The other clubs in the Baltimore area are Magooby's Joke House, that's in Timonium. Sully's Comedy Cellar, it used to be Tracy's years ago.
That's great.
That
Do you
was
know
in-
what?
that was
Do you
in
know what Vinny
Parkville.
does for a living? Do you know what his job is outside of podcasting?
I imagine you're going to tell me.
Sure. He books a comedy club in New York, so
Hi, Tom.
he might know a thing or
Nice.
two about it.
Okay, I just wanted to go ahead and cut in a little bit. When Adam said that Vinny booked one of the biggest clubs in New York, he meant upstate New York, like not New York City. In fact, to quote Lenny Bruce, when he said something like, in fact, the specific town in the Lenny Bruce bit was Rochester. Lenny Bruce said, "That's not New York, man." But, I digress. Anyway, back to the interview.
And I thought it was funny that he was the one guy you were like, we can't have him on. I mean, there's a legion of people that would agree to go on if Carl's not there. But you were the one to say, Vinny, that's too much for me too. So I thought that was interesting because I would say it would be a wrong instinct. But they're asking in the chat, how often do you go to watch a show that you're not on? Like how often do you turn on the YouTube and watch other people's shows?
Oh, a lot. Like especially if like some friends of mine post stuff as well, like some other comics,
Such
other
as?
comics that I do. Well, my friend whenever Chad Zumach, he'll go ahead and post stuff on his Instagram. I know that's a thing, but it's like I love.
No, it's not a thing. It's just
I'll
that you
go ahead
couldn't
and watch
think of
that
it. That's so
stuff
funny.
I mean,
Do you
there's
ever, like go to is there a other club in town you could go to and just go watch a show that somebody like? Do you go do that often?
Yeah, how often do you do that?
I don't really do that as often as I used to, just because like the podcast keeps me busy, and like I have my my gig. I do public address announcing for youth baseball tournaments, so like that, I don't really do like the stand up as much anymore. So
You miss it?
I mean, I like to get back into it again. Like I said, I'm still writing. I still like go out every now and then. I hit local workout rooms, and yeah, I'm definitely looking to try and get back into it.
Cool. Here's one from I hope I get this name right. Arkansotopes Theorem, $4.99. Thank you, sir. Tom, do you think teaming with WATP early would have been smarter than lashing out, or was distancing yourself first and joining later the better move?
We are going to find out, Mr. Theorem. We are going to find out the answer to that question.
Well, no,
Well, I think it's like it's one of those things also where it's like they say the anticipation of something is better than the thing itself. Like once it happens. Like what is it that Chinese proverb? The point of the journey is never to arrive, or something like that.
I don't know what that means, but I know there's a sense that you want your fans to be one way. You want them to, you want to dictate how they enjoy you. And I feel like there are good comics, there are great comics, there's a lot in the middle, but you seem to offer something that's undefinable that people can't find anywhere else. And you deny that part of yourself, you deny the people that enjoy it, and you pretend it doesn't even exist. And it's kind of a game we all have to play. That's riding that line of are we allowed to enjoy you for what we enjoy you for? Like for me, it's everything you said. You're like, yes, I'm either pacing manically or I'm standing still. It's all just tension to me. And I love that because that's really hard to find. Even now, the fact that like I've pointed out multiple times there's that green hue around your head and you're like, no, that's how we do this. That's how I work a green screen.
Well,
There will be
that's
a green hue.
it's something I didn't quite say that. I said I've been working on it. Like I've been trying to tweak it as well. Not very well, admittedly, but
No.
you know, I do have I have a life outside of podcasting, which, you know,
Okay.
thankfully
Nobody said you didn't. Nobody said you didn't. I
Are
mean,
you dating anybody? Are you dating anyone?
Today, no.
Do you see that, Rob Saul? That's all you got to do. It's really easy. It doesn't take much. You just answer the question. Jesus Christ.
Well, thank you for telling me I'm more concise than Rob Saul. I'll go ahead and I'll include that on the.
We
on the
take
back
our
of the book
victories
jacket.
where we can find them. Have you ever had your heart broken, like real bad? Because I know I have.
Oh, of course. Who
Yeah, what
hasn't?
was that like? Can you tell us about it?
Oh,
I can
it
go back to
was,
asking about your parents' grave.
it was. Well, I'm having my heart broken right now because my Baltimore Orioles just suck so bad, and then the Ravens got knocked out of the playoff. Got knocked out of the playoffs.
Carl's
by
not
the
here. We don't wanna
Buffalo
do- we don't want
Bills,
baseball.
and damn it! I know a lot of Bills fans. They take a little victory lap on that one, but yeah, no, I
fuck
mean,
the Bills, Tom. Fuck the Bills.
thank you, Vinny.
Oh,
So
fuck
when
the
someone-
Ravens too, Tom.
When someone's like Tim Dillon says that you have either no self-awareness or too much self-awareness, what does that mean to you?
I mean, to me, I think it means that like I don't know what like I don't know people's perceptions of me, or I'm sort of aware too much that I care too much. Maybe I do care too much, but
I think
You
so.
know.
Because that put, when you have that going on inside, but you want to project, I don't care, it's not a winning combination. And we all see through that. And some people actually enjoy that. But it's interesting to see, the suppression of it, because it's very hard to act like we don't care when we really do. It's almost impossible. Humans can tell.
It's a weird thing to me, Tom, and I guess I don't understand it because I'm listening to you explain, how you don't care. But then when people say these things, and then you respond immediately with, some of them, I do respond to, and you seem to take an enjoyment in that, you claim. I have to wonder, like, when you hear a criticism about your act and stuff like that, you kind of say you wear those things as a badge of honor. And I'm sorry, I feel like I'm rambling, and I'm just trying to get this out the right way. You're like kind of proud of the way people come at you. To me, I would be like, I got to get better. I just don't understand that mentality. Can you explain it to me?
I mean, I think it was just the idea of like growing up in the Maryland public school system, and just the idea of using jokes to go ahead and just deflecting bullies and upperclassmen, and just not really giving a shit about the consequences. Like if things
I just
went
can't see
horribly
that kind
awry.
of clever wordplay disarming a bully in the bathroom in Baltimore in high school. I just can't see that kind of.
I would be giving a quip of the boys like, we got to get back to class, Tom.
Well, they get back to class, and therefore they leave me alone and don't beat the shit out of me. Don't you see how this works, Vinny? I have a plan. I think these things out ahead of time.
That's not what I'm asking you, though. I'm not asking you like why you got into comedy. I'm asking you like why that criticism doesn't inspire you to get up and be the best comic that you could possibly be. Because, like, listen, man, I listened to those albums, and I know that you're proud of them, but I listen to albums all day long. People send me stuff. I listen to this all day long, and it was very unremarkable. And like, you're sitting here telling me that it was great, and I respect that because you're proud of what you did. And I think anybody, if they put something out there, they should stand behind it. But the response to the criticism is it's everybody else's fault for not getting it. And I'm saying, what in you stops you from processing that and saying, hey, I got to change this up. I got to start cutting words. I got to start hitting my punchlines harder and faster. What's stopping you from that?
There's nothing stopping me from doing that, because I actually do that, contrary to what you read on Reddit or what you hear or what you read in the comment section, because I always do strive to be better. Am I the greatest comedian in the world? No. Am I ever
No.
going to be that? Am I ever going to be that? No. I've come to accept that. But you know, I've always, like I said, I always strive. I always work on. I always work on the bits. I always work on the jokes. I always polish them, and I try and go out and work on them frequently whenever I can.
I guess
So
it's
the process I have might be like very different from everyone else, but on the base level, it's the same.
What I'm saying is you seem to like revel in the bad reviews and stuff like that, and you're very proud of it. And I'm just saying, how doesn't that, how do you not take that as motivation instead of just standing there going,
I
ha,
just
ha, ha.
answered. I just answered. I literally just answered that question by saying yes. I do strive to. I do strive to be better.
Yeah, because
Okay.
I'll take issue with one of Vinny's points is that in terms of the comedy, it can be enjoyed on a lot of different levels. You know, people go see this Tim Heidecker character. He's a stand-up comic, right?
Yep.
It's genius. It's because it's very hard to pull off intentionally, and it can fill rooms, and they don't have to explain it to anyone, and they know a lot of people looking at it might not guess what Tim Heidecker is doing, and that it is a kind of anti-comedy thing, and it's funny in that way. And I feel like it's a more punk, modern, younger aesthetic that the second anyone tries to even mention it around you, it gets a very, very negative reaction. And I'm always of the like that if somebody wants to hear me sing, I really don't care what they enjoy about it. Who the fuck am I to dictate how they enjoy it? So I've always found that process really interesting. Can you tell us about that?
I mean, listen, if anybody wants to, you know, enjoy me, if anybody wants to go ahead and give me the clicks or the listens or anything like that, I'll go ahead and do it. I'll go ahead and take it. I mean,
So then why
you
wouldn't
know,
you embrace this stuff
a
a
click,
decade ago?
a click is a click is a click is a click. A listen is a listen.
But
and
that's
if
what they were
someone
saying a
streams my
decade
albums,
ago with Cumtown and all these
dollar-
places. That's what they were saying.
a dollar is a dollar.
Right,
But
that's what they were saying. It's been this long 10-year kind of
But with
dipping your toe in.
Cumtown, with
any of
Cumtown,
them,
I've
with any of them.
known two of the hosts for a very long time, and they just don't seem. And having met them in person a long time ago, and you know, listening to them as of late, you know, it doesn't seem to be coming from a very genuine place. If that makes any sense.
No,
Like,
that'd be what I was
there
saying.
doesn't seem to be.
Like you don't get to decide what's genuine and what's not. It just kind of comes from how.
Well, I mean,
people
but
see it.
but you're saying like I shouldn't criticize how some people perceive me. And so okay,
How they enjoy it.
I should be able, okay, how they enjoy it, and then I should be able to go ahead. I should be able to go ahead and um, just process how I should be able to go ahead and process that myself. I should be able to go ahead and perceive people's criticisms. I should also consider the source and go ahead and process that my way as well. Let them enjoy me the way they want to enjoy me, and I'll go ahead and take the commentary as they want to take it.
Sure. It's just when we talk about the sometimes things are too wordy or sometimes there's a different energy on stage when we say, I say, that's actually the things I enjoy about you. Those are the things as an actor I see and I'm like, fuck, that's really hard to reproduce. That's really, I like when two things are going on at once. And with you, I always see the comedian telling the jokes and then this other thing. And I don't quite know what it is, but I'm fascinated by it. And I feel like in all the studying I've done on you, it's been like a war to prove that other side doesn't exist. And it's just this kind of Todd Barry comedian. When the other thing is what I love. It's what other people love. It's why Shane wanted to introduce you to his wife. It's why he listens to your album. It comes down to that thing. What does innate mean? Like, it doesn't make sense, literally. It's maybe a political statement. It's maybe a joke on the fact that it isn't a thing. But that would put you in that anti-comedy category as opposed to, no, that's a very funny joke that makes sense to everybody.
Is that what you're doing? Is it anti-comedy, or is this what you legitimately think is a funny joke that someone should see and laugh out loud at?
I mean, well, how would you define anti-comedy? though, because a lot of those terms just get bandied about and they're thrown around on the internet, and people really don't know. People really don't know what words mean when they get thrown around. So
No, I think everybody really has a
very
clear understanding of the English language, especially writers and comics that put themselves out. Like, a lot of these people consider themselves writers first and then comics. I mean, some poets, Bob, every syllable, it has a meaning, and it would ruin it to add or remove another syllable. So when you say "make America innate again," and people are like, "I don't know what that means," and your response is, "Well, fuck off," it feels like a dead end.
I've never
I'm
said
paraphrasing.
That. In fact,
You're right, I'm paraphrasing.
I've answered that question on podcasts numerous times.
And the answer is,
So, the answer was, it was like looking within oneself to find out how to make America great instead of just looking for external stimuli.
and that's a joke.
And it was also just something that rhymed with great. And I
Right.
knew there was something that would.
There
It was
it is.
something.
That's
It
what
was
it spelled
something-
to us. That's
and
what
it was
spelled.
and it was something that would never ever be copied or.
There
or
goes
imitated.
Rhyme and Tom.
So.
It's a great question from the chat. Do you know what anti-comedy is, Tom? Do you know what they mean by that? Like, I know folk music and anti-folk music. Folk music is like what you think of when you think of Bob Dylan, Mumford and Sons. Anti-folk would be a much less melodic, a more punk, but with kind of lo-fi sound instruments. It's a different thing. They're both well-respected art forms. Do you know what anti-comedy is? Do you know what examples of that are?
I would love to hear you explain it.
It's when something is intentionally unfunny.
Right.
And
They
that's
take
the
out
joke.
the funny parts. to make
And
them-
often,
yeah.
that's the writing aspect of it. And often you're left with an eager comedian.
Well,
you know,
in that
a very
case,
eager to please comedian.
in that case, if we're going by that strict definition, I would say that label is absolute bullshit. Because, like I said, believe it or not, if you go outside this Dabbleverse or Hackverse or whatever the fuck we're calling it, then there's people out there who actually enjoy me, and if they
But
if
anti-comedy is not enjoying someone. That's what I'm saying. It's enjoying it on their level. It's enjoying it the way they want to because they see something unique. They can find a good or great comic, in LA and New York very easily, but someone who does what I consider what you do and people like that when it's leaned into can fill ballrooms. It can fill theaters.
You could look back to guys like, for example, just like Andy Kaufman reading
Thank
The Great Gatsby on stage
Thank you.
is anti-comedy, Tom. It's really funny, kind of like when you look at it on the surface level of what it is, but when you're in the room, you're like, what the fuck is this? Until you realize what's happening and you can lean into the joke and laugh at the inflection of him reading the words, which is, the mastery of it. You know what I mean? There's a way to suck people into stuff like that. Is that what you're going for, or are you just going for hard punchline jokes?
I mean, I'm just doing the standard like set up punchlines, and when I go out and do them, there's people who enjoy them. Do they always enjoy them? Do some of them flop? Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely they do. Absolutely they do. And when the ones that do, like I said earlier, I either tweak them, and if I can't get to the point where people like them, I let them go.
Because what's so unique is finding that person where they think it's funny. That's the beautiful thing to see, where the room feels one way, but they feel another way, and then we can laugh at that. That, to me, is sometimes more engaging than just regular comedy. And sometimes I see that in spades with you, and I wouldn't want to run from it, and I wouldn't want to not embrace it, and I wouldn't want to say you can only laugh at this part of the joke. You can't laugh at this part of the joke.
Well,
I
I
to be
would
respected only.
First off, thank you so much, JC, for the super chat. Who me? I can't give $1,000. I'm mad. Well, you can do that 9 more times. Come on, man. Show some love for the show. Show some love for the channel. But I mean, I can disagree with your assessment about my stand up. But like I said, if they want to enjoy it, if they want to stream the albums, if they want to go ahead and put money in my pocket, I'll go ahead and take their money. And if they want to go ahead and come after,
I heard something about you that I couldn't
go
believe.
ahead.
I heard that you had a period where you were an alcoholic, or at least where you drank way too much.
Yeah.
And That's wild. How did that happen, and what was that like for you?
I just I I just started drinking. I had a family. It's on one side of my family there were Scotch, Irish, Pennsylvania, Dutch coal miners. Another side of my family were, like I said, they were came over here from Ireland. There's a long
What was it
history
like when you were drinking, Tom? What was it like when you were drinking?
I wish
my
I could
God.
remember. I wish I could remember what it was like. But no, there were some,
Really? Was it that bad?
Yeah. I
See,
mean,
that's
there was
amazing.
there was one particular show I did. It was in upstate New York. It was outdoors, and we did it outdoors because it was in the middle of August in a heat wave, and the venue had no air conditioning. And so, in order to
Can we
break
ever
my
talk
nerves
about your
before the
drinking? Are we
show-
ever going to get to the part where you're drunk?
Well,
Holy
before
cow.
that particular show, I polished off a 6-pack of Yingling, had another beer at dinner, and then everybody just kept buying me shots during the show, and then I ended up doing some more after the show, and I woke up the next morning.
Did anything happen at the show? Did anything happen at all?
Well, I woke up. If you
Okay.
shut the fuck up for 2 minutes,
next
let me
day.
finish. I'll tell you.
Go ahead.
I mean, you're asking a question. Can I fucking answer questions?
Can
without-
you?
I'm not gonna lie. I am so fucking proud of that moment. What can I say? I love throwing shit in people's faces. Anyway, back to the interview. Chiming in. I know. Well, trying to. But the next day, I woke up and found that I had to like walk through a landmine. Apparently, the previous night, I kept getting up and walking around and puking so many times that there were like these. I had to walk very carefully to avoid stepping on puddles of puke. So, and I did my best to go ahead and clean it up, and then, at the end when I was checking out, I pulled some of the money that they had given me for the show out of my pocket, and the woman who ran this place just pulled it all out of my hand and said, "This should go ahead and help the cleanup fee." Stuck it in her pocket, and I wasn't really in any position to go ahead and do that, so. I wasn't really in any position to fight back or argue or anything because I had a wicked hangover. So, but
Before we
was,
get out of here, real fast, that was great. Before we get out of here, if there's any more questions from the chat, please let us know. I want to know, how would you respond to people who would say that you didn't really answer the questions directly today? That you answered, you spoke, but you really just kind of avoided the point and jumped around and wouldn't really internalize anything that was happening. You kind of have a couple stories, because I've done a lot of research on you, and you keep falling back to these same stories whenever you're asked about these certain topics, because it seems like you don't want to think about them or talk about them in any kind of actual self-reflection.
I mean, if I didn't want to talk about anything, I wouldn't have come on this show. So
That's big of
I
you,
mean,
man.
you
It's
did be-
actually commendable.
Absolutely. And you get points for that. Absolutely. But in terms of direct answers, there seems to be a lot of you hit a wall. And
I
you won't
think
get
I've
past
been
that.
very direct. I have to respectfully disagree with your assessment.
Okay. That's fair. I was reading from the chat what they said, and a lot of people feel you're not answering the questions.
Well, I
happen to
mean,
agree with them.
a lot of the people in the chat are some of them are good. I recognize like some of the names from.
See, this is what we're talking about. The ones who say nice things are good, and the ones who say bad things are not good. So how are you? What happened to the hero who's internalizing all of it and fighting back and reading it all? And
Well, like I said, I read it all and I process it, and I go ahead and respond the way I feel I should, as
You
direct as
filter
I
out-
possibly can.
You filter out, you consider the source, and then you filter out which criticism you take as valid, correct?
Correct.
I talk
Like if
too
it's
much.
someone,
I'm not
if it's
economical
someone
in
who-
words.
If
right?
it's someone who just reads what other people who don't know me at all write about me on Reddit, then that's
How does
like,
somebody get to know you, and who gets to decide what is well enough to know you to have an opinion on it?
I think you're doing that right now, Mr. Bush.
And is that okay, or is that not allowed?
Yeah, I mean, you could literally like trash me as soon as I leave this fucking studio right now, and I would just be like, okay, it's just I came on, said my piece. Did I change some minds? Great. if I didn't change any minds, if I didn't have
What
any
would be the
converts,
mind?
then
What would be the opinion to change? Like I was saying, I talk too much. I'm not economical in my words. I'm really verbose, and it's the biggest criticism I get. And every time I read it, it's just valid. Even when I am shorter, it's not short enough. I work on it. Every time I see it, I get it. What's one for you? What's a criticism you hear where you're like, yeah, I get that?
I mean, well, a criticism that I hear that I am a that I do agree with is like what Vinny was saying earlier, the word economy, which, like I said, is something I work on. I consistently work on it, like every waking moment, even when I'm out and about running errands and everything. That's what it's runs through my mind. It runs through my mind consistently.
May I
So
throw something at you just to help you? Just because I have the same problem with stuff with word economy. There's a really cool exercise. Do you know who Gene Perrette was?
no,
He was a writer for Johnny Carson, and he wrote a book. It's called The Perrette Method of Comedy. And one of the things he talks about for word economy is phenomenal. It's a great tool, and it might help you tremendously. You might want to
okay.
look it up. I'm not going to get into the boring parts of it, but I think it would tremendously help you.
Boring
And
parts is my job, Vinny.
waka waka.
I'm being self-deprecating. Jesus, come on.
That's nothing, no problem. Listen, I give you credit for coming on. I never thought you would in a million years, Tom. Would you
Well,
answer some questions from the chat for everybody, though?
Yeah, sure, I'd love to.
Okay. Tom, this came from the Blackcast. He gave us a $1. And he would like to know what's it like to be the funniest one on the screen.
Oh, my bullshit meter is going fucking haywire right now. Oh, Blackcast, you card.
No, he means that. He actually means that. He really does.
And he's right.
He's a real prick. ASC Presents gave us $5. Hi, Mint. Have you ever tried Concerta Vine's ADHD meds overall, Tom? Oh, that's from Young Clippa.
Oh. Should
You
I
ever
know who
tried
that
any of that
is?
stuff?
Oh, no, I haven't.
You ever tried Adderall or anything like that?
Nope.
What's the hardest drug you've ever tried?
Booze, man. That's the hardest
Only booze?
one. Well, I mean the hardest, like I've never done anything like recreationally. Like I've smoked pot once and didn't enjoy it. But like the hardest thing I ever took, aside from alcohol, because alcohol is a drug, was like hydrocodone when I had my wisdom teeth pulled. And one time I had taken it, and I was getting on this real high at the same time that a tornado had struck outside my house.
Sure.
And I just saw shit flying past the window. I was like, whoa, this shit's great. And then all the electricity went out, and then I came to a little bit later, and I thought, oh, that was a bummer. That was a bit of a come down.
Cool. Hako Burrow wants to know, when was the last time you slept with someone, man or woman?
Fairly recently, Hacko Burrow. And speaking of which, tell your mom I said hi and that I hope her jaw feels better.
Oh,
Bam.
I'm sorry, Hacko. Thank you for the $5.
But seriously, though,
it's a standard go-to line.
And now that you've said the joke, what's the answer?
The answer is it's nobody's business.
Fair enough.
My personal life is my personal life, and if I actually do answer that question, then I'll go ahead and I would dox that person, and they don't deserve that. Like the idea of being with me is rough enough, but to put up with people who hear about me and come up with and put up with me and come after me to then be subjected to those to all that stuff, no.
Spoken like a true poonhound. And along those lines, I think that's what we've kind of been talking about, is that I don't know. I try not to make jokes about things I don't know about. So if I'm not an avid pot smoker, bong user, I would not make a joke involving bong hit transplant. If I haven't had my heart broken or had a lot of partners, I wouldn't base my act on love and relationships. They talk about writing what you know, and sometimes the subjects feel outside of your reach, and the things you do know about, we would love to hear about, but those might be too vulnerable or revealing and stay a little tucked under.
Also, like a lot of the early stuff I wrote when I was a raging drinker and like a raging alcoholic. So
are you blaming alcohol for the bong transplant joke?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, if you really want me to explain it, then I'd have to
No,
go back to drinking. Then I have like 13 years and close to 13
Good for
years
you.
and 4 months.
Because you see, to
So-
the outside, all we saw, and this is why I love you, Tom, and this is why I love this whole world, is, we said, what drug have you tried? And you're like, oh, this one, not that one. Someone says, when's the last time you got laid? And you're like, fuck you and fuck you. I don't have to answer that. Yes, I'm exaggerating.
I didn't.
But it was,
yes,
you're right. You did.
that was a big exaggeration.
Sure.
And
Whatever it was. You weren't going to answer it on principle.
I made a funny and then
Okay, and then didn't answer the
told you.
question because you were offended and it was too much, and then spoke about how it's your personal life and no one has the right to ask
I
you.
wasn't offended. It's
Forgive
like,
me.
if
We
I don't
can
wanna-
go over
if I
the
don't wanna
details,
answer-
but
if
we
I
know
don't
what
wanna
happened.
Answer a question. If
Right.
I
I have
don't
a
want to
good one.
answer a question, then I'm
The
not.
fact
gonna,
that there's one about one and
I'm
not
not
the
gonna
other,
answer
it's always revealing.
I'm not good. I can't say I don't want to answer a particular question.
Would you answer the one on the screen right now for me?
Why did
It's
you
Tom.
kill?
Tom, F, Mary, kill Vinny, Adam, Chris, and why did you kill Vinny? That's what everybody wants to know.
I can tell you why I killed Vinny. Damn it, you're pissing me off right now. No.
I just gave you the out on there, pal. I helped you out there. Don't get sassy with me. Cupcake Corner with American Cupcake. Thanks for the 10 spot.
Hey.
Tom, 5 minutes ago, you said when people criticize you for being too wordy, you don't change a thing. Now you're saying when criticized, you do change. Very womanly of you to contradict
Scratch
yourself
the
like
last
that.
part of that. Just answer the first part. You don't even need the.
Hey, he paid $10. I'm going to read his question.
Yeah,
but Tom
listen,
doesn't need
10
to-
bucks.
Look,
10
Carl
bucks is
would've wanted
$10, man. Come on.
I don't want him to
You
use the
gotta
ending
give him
to
this,
avoid
man.
the beginning. Answer that if you don't mind.
I don't think I contradicted myself. I think I've said throughout is that I'm always trying to improve. So
Okay.
Okay. Did we ask this one already?
yes,
Okay,
we
sorry
did,
about
yep.
that. Okay,
good.
better one. Barrister 1401, thanks for the $2. Tom, what is the quickest you've ever walked a room? I'll tell you the quickest I ever walked one if you tell me the quickest you ever walked one.
Oh, I think it was within the first 3 minutes of my set. I just started this again. This is during my drinking days. Sorry for blaming booze again, everybody. But I just
Fuck
started
Yingling.
yelling at this. I just started yelling at this one table, and they didn't want to hear any of it. So they ended up walking. So
For me, it was never.
wuss. What a pussy you are. Jesus Christ. Come on.
I've had meetings or auditions or things be such a tremendous bomb that I spent the next like 6 months just not trying to bomb. And it took me a while to realize that these little not bombings I was having were not successes. I was just avoiding this thing I was afraid of. I wasn't actually winning or getting better. And I often see a lot of that in you, that kind of stasis, that kind of, well, it didn't go horrible, so we're just going to stay right here instead of taking some real risks and talking about the things that you can speak on. You always remind me of that character from Punch Drunk Love that Adam Sandler plays. And it's like, yeah, you wouldn't want to see that guy as a comedian, but if he did, I think I would have to see it. Like I wouldn't want to miss it. And I would want to see you talking about those things, the small little things that go on in your life. Like whatever it was you wouldn't talk about when you got drunk or in your love life. Those are the things that are interesting.
Have a drink and tell us about them.
If you don't mind.
Yeah, then nobody will see me for like a month, which I think would make. I have a feeling that would make quite a few people in this chat very happy if I did that.
Kyle X, thanks for the $2, wants to know, can I submit jokes to you? 100% legit here.
Anybody can submit anything. So,
Tom, this is a tough one, but this is a question that I actually think is very valid, and I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. The greater good, thanks for the $4.99. Tom, he is stating nobody gets the opinion of you from Reddit. WATP actually reviews your stuff in context, and it's better than selective editing ever could be. Now, I know in the past you've accused Carl of selective editing on your shows when he's critiqued you in the past. How would you respond to this?
well, I can respond to this, and then I do have to get going after this one because we're.
I have
coming
one
up
more
on my-
question after that. and no problem.
Okay. I mean, I would say like in the context, like when you review episodes of Tom Myers versus the rest of the world, like the context is like it's supposed to be like a current events and social issues podcast. So um like it's set up in that particular context. It's not like a live stage show. It's like discuss things that have gone on and I write jokes about them. So like to go ahead and treat it as if it's just a regular stand-up set is kind of I find it anyway to be misleading.
I think you're doing it backwards,
Yeah.
if I may. I think the show that you should have the most polished, quickest jokes are the ones that are going to be out there going to a ton of people versus the ones that are just going to be in a room somewhere, in a workout room like you described it.
I mean, but like I said, the jokes that I would tell on the podcast aren't the same ones that I'm doing on stage. So
Okay. Okay.
that's a completely different. They're two. It's like you're comparing apples and oranges, basically.
Yeah, I
I'm
just find
sorry,
whenever anybody has some criticisms of your work, they're wrong. The delivery's wrong. The word is wrong. And then you say, I'm open to it. But somehow I don't specifically. I can't.
I mean,
find out what it is.
I disagree with your I just disagree with your assessment, though.
Thank you for
Can I ask you
demonstrating my point.
a direct
And with
question
that,
about
we are
this?
going to let you go because do you mind telling us where you have to be right now? I think everybody should know. Tom actually does have a very specific heart out that I think our audience would enjoy.
It's a meeting that I have where I'm actually it's something big coming up in the works, and I'm not quite ready to
Okay.
announce it as of yet. So
Okay.
that's going to be
Okay.
watch
So
this
then,
space, as
after
they
you
say.
booked this with me, and after you told me that
we
this
went
was the
we
day
went
you
over
could
this.
do,
We
you
went
said
over
you have
this.
a hard out because you have a thing at 6:30 that you just wanted to have in your back. Which, by the way, good on you. Good to have an out. You don't know what the fuck this is. This was a lion's den. You stepped into it and you stayed the whole
gave
time.
me-
You didn't
did
need to
give
make
me-
up a
you gave me-
pretend meeting with I won't say who,
This
but
is
it's a
not a
hilarious
pretend
punchline.
meeting.
Once again, you're
This is
avoiding
not a
the
pretend
real
meeting.
joke.
This
Is
is
this
not a pretend
punchline of
meeting.
where you
Told
said you
me-
have to go? Because when
you
I tell
told
Carl
me
you had to leave
5:30.
WATP to go see.
You told me 5:30, and it was my fault for not double checking for which segment and everything. I'll go ahead and take the.
I'm
L on
sorry,
that
it's
one.
not the Tonight Show.
You told me it was you told me a particular.
I just thought you
time.
knew how the podcast worked. I said it's at
I'm
5:30.
just
You said I have a hard out at 6:30 because I got to go to meet this other comic that I won't say who or what.
I just run my show differently than yours. I tell people it's going to be from this time to this time, and that's the way I run my show.
But you
I'm
do or
sorry
don't
you
have a
don't-
hard out.
I'm sorry, I do.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for being here with us. We really
Okay,
appreciate
so
Thank
it.
you so
one
much for
more?
having me on.
Please,
Tom,
Vinny.
Last question. What did you do with the money
What money?
that your mom gave you for comedy classes?
It felt good. I got to be honest. It felt good.
Jesus Christ.
I had so many questions about it. Damn it.
Why did okay.
So that was interesting. Despite the fact that, we had an agreement beforehand, before I did the show, that I would be out by a certain time. Like I said, I do have a busy schedule. I do have shit that I plan. I do keep myself very busy. And like I said, most of the stuff that goes on is behind the scenes. You don't see it. You will never see it. So, what can I say? For those of you just tuning in to this channel for the first time, I'll go ahead and do the plugs that they didn't give me the chance to do, that they didn't put into the description of their episode, and that Adam Bush didn't even bother to do on the following week's episode of Who Are These Podcasts. So my podcast, of course, as you very well know, if you visit my channel a lot, is Tom Myers versus the rest of the world. It is available on my Patreon, patreon.com/Tom Myers. You can join for as little as $1. This very YouTube channel, $1 a month, by the way. And if you don't have $12 a year, you may want to seriously re-examine your. Never mind. I shouldn't do that. No, touch wood, all that. So it's available on the Patreon, this very YouTube channel, and wherever you get your podcasts. I have a bunch of socials. The big one that I use is Blue Sky. I love it so much better than Twitter or X because that's what X was like back when it was Twitter before Elon Musk took it over and turned it into a haven for racists and Nazis and white supremacists and bigots and conspiracy theorists. So basically, I went to Blue Sky because Twitter/X is pretty much what Nazi Germany was like in the late 1930s. So I decided to go ahead and leave that. I'm also on Instagram, the.tom.myers. That's where you can find me. And everything else that you never wanted to know about me is on my website, tommyers.us. It's Myers. So, uh, yeah, I just wanted to go ahead and put my plugs in there since they didn't give me a chance to do it. And, in case anybody who is here, like I said, anybody who is here watching this video, uh, and it was on my channel for the very first time, I just wanted to go ahead and do my plugs. That's about it. So, as I said at the top of this video, I am so sorry that I did not upload this in a timely fashion, according to some people. So, I went ahead and did that. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're not subscribed to this channel, please subscribe. Also, go ahead and support me at the Patreon. Go ahead and check me out in the socials. Follow me there. Uh, I try not to be a dick. If you send me a DM or respond, but what can I say? It's my shtick. People tell me that I'm a nice guy when they meet me in person. I don't know. I deal with myself all the time. I have many varying opinions about that. So, anyways, thank you so much for tuning in. Hope you stick around. Hope you check out all the other stuff I have on this channel, all other projects I've got going. Peace out. Lots of love, everybody.